The Research Canvas is a science communication tool. It allows you to talk about your research to a broad audience of professionals, not just your fellow researchers. This professional audience can include anyone who is a stakeholder in the innovation processes relating to your research, such as, but not limited to, product designers, market researchers, financial analysts, and business developers. To achieve this communicative goal, it is necessary to write in language that can be understood by those colleagues and professionals who are not experts in your domain, but who will work with you to drive innovation based on your research. The Research Canvas provides you with a single-page poster format that captures the key elements and unique differentiators of your research. It allows you to approach your research from many different angles, such as the alternative solutions to your research question, legal implications, intellectual property, and practical applications. The poster format is about you. Who are you and what is your background? It also describes the context of your research and the research questions that you are trying to solve. Next, it summarizes the solutions you are exploring and how these compare to alternative ways of solving similar research problems. Finally, it deals with the intellectual property aspects of your work. The goal of the Research Canvas is to collect as much feedback as possible from a very diverse audience, as this is the most efficient way to identify the opportunities for the application of your research. Transferring the results of scientific inquiry to society or to businesses requires the input of and feedback from people with many different backgrounds. Multidisciplinary teams are a key to the successful implementation of research-driven innovation. The Research Canvas is a tool in this innovation process because it enables people with different backgrounds to understand what you do. Research-driven innovation involves teamwork, as does its opportunity recognition workshop. During the workshop, you will work in small groups with peers from different research areas. In your group, you will have to get familiar with each other's work, give feedback, and achieve new insights. The best way to get started in a team is to say something about yourself. Where do you come from? What is your background, your education, and what is your dream? Do you want to become a top scientist in the academic world? Is it your ambition to become the CTO of a high-tech company, or do you plan to start your own company one day? The context of your research explains the domain in which you conduct your research, the type of research you do, and how it is organized and managed. It should give your audience an initial idea of the big picture of your work. The research domain should be as specific as possible, without being too technical. You'll see an example on the slide. The type of research indicates, for example, whether you do fundamental research, applied research, or contract research. Also, tell us something about how your research is organized. Do you work in a small, focused local team? Is your work part of a large research project with international partners? Or do you do joint research with industry? Expressing the research problem in 2 sentences is probably the biggest challenge in this exercise. But remember what Leonardo da Vinci said: simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. The example in this slide can serve as a good guideline. It does not talk about the complex challenges in the physical and chemical domain of new materials research. Rather, it relates the research to tangible or known problem areas that a broad professional audience can associate with. Next, you have to say something about the solutions you are looking at. Tell us how you plan to solve the problems. What functions do you implement in your solution? Here, you should emphasize the special differentiators of your work. What makes your approach unique? Again, the example from the solar energy project can serve as a guideline. Let's have a look at the functions and differentiators of this project. The first statement: we produce solar cell prototypes using a different semiconductor material than silicon, CIGS, is very clear. The function is to produce solar cells, and the unique differentiator is the fact that it uses a new material other than silicon. The second statement is even stronger with respect to the uniqueness of the process. It allows cheaper production processes. The third statement explains that based on this research, we can now produce solar cells in different forms or formats. Reading this now, I can already think of a couple of very nice applications and opportunities, and I am not even a new materials scientist or a solar energy expert. When you are talking about the new approaches and innovative solutions of your research work, you should always stress the uniqueness of your work. What makes it so different? What makes it special? This is what captures people's attention and makes them start thinking about how your unique differentiators can be beneficial to their own environment. This is how creative solutions are born. Try to identify at least 2 or 3 unique differentiators in your research and explain why they are so unique. Let's have a look again at the example from the solar energy research. Compared to existing technologies, the use of new materials and new production processes has 2 unique differentiators. The solar cells can be deposited on any kind of carrier or substrate, even plastics. They are produced in continuous processing rather than in discrete steps, which allows for higher volume production and lower costs. As a scientist, you are very well aware of other research in your domain. Research teams in other universities and countries may be trying to solve the same or a similar research problem using different approaches. By providing a short overview of the alternative solutions to your research problem, your audience will be able to position your solution with respect to other initiatives. This will not only allow them to compare the solutions, but it can also provide inspiration on how to improve your solution. Alternative solutions in the solar energy project include, amongst others, continuing improvement in classical solar cells, or the invention of new production processes for them. You should also keep an eye on approaches and technologies that solve a wider problem in a completely different way. If wind energy becomes much cheaper than solar energy, it might completely overtake the solar energy market. The last part of the research canvas covers the intellectual property that is generated by your research. This has 2 dimensions. How and in what form are the research results captured? And who is the owner of this intellectual property? IP comes in many different forms. It can be protected by new patents that your research organization plans to file, or it can be copyright on software programs, data, or designs. Open source software is also a form of IP that allows you to share your work with the research community and, depending on how it is generated and the type of license, will provide a certain level of protection. You also need to identify who is the owner of the IP. If you are employed by a research organization, it can be the owner. But if you work in a consortium with many partners, the IP will probably be shared amongst the participants. For the purpose of driving innovation based on your research, it is important to know who owns the IP. This completes our walkthrough of the research canvas. Now you have to apply this to your own research project and make a first draft of your research canvas prior to the start of the Opportunity Recognition Workshop. During the first day of the workshop, we will discuss your research canvas together with the other participants. We will work and rework it so that it becomes a very comprehensive description which can be the basis for identifying opportunities leading to innovative products and services. You can find a template of the Research Canvas in the Download section on the website. Once you have completed it, you should follow the instructions to upload it to the online workspace of the workshops. I'm looking forward to meeting you all at a workshop and to learn about your research projects and their opportunities.